In Australia, a bus carrying wedding guests rolls over, killing at least 10 people.
Police arrest a 58-year-old bus driver responsible for the accident. More details on this later in the news. Good evening, I am Gianna Llanes.
I am Nina Richie Flores. This is Mata ng Agila International. Now for the headlines. The Philippines marked its 125th year of independence. Albay expands PDZ radius amid Mayon's erratic behavior. CIPRI says China has increased its nuclear arms significantly. Russia transports nukes to Belarus this July. And let's jam to Coldplay's hymn for the weekend at the Philippine Arena. To kick off the Philippines' 105th or 25th Independence Day celebrations, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. urges the Filipinos to remove unfreedom in the country. JD Mahinay for the details.
Today, June 12, marks the 125th anniversary of the country's independence and nationhood. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. graced the nationwide celebration of the Philippine independence with a flag-raising ceremony at the Rizal Monument. The event was followed by a civic and military parade at the Quirino Grandstand in Manila. In this year's theme, Kalayaan, Kinabukasan, Kasaysayan, the President encourages the Filipinos to assert the freedom strived to claim by our forebearers. The President addresses the manifold unfreedoms in the Republic that hindered the country's development.
It is said that there are manifold unfreedoms prevailing in society that stand in the way of human development. These are the corrosive political and social conditions that make the nation not as free as we would like to profess and to believe, such as poverty, inadequate economic opportunities, disabling rather than enabling living conditions, inequality, and apathy.
The President urges the Filipino people to strive for unity and in solidarity to perfect hard-fought freedom and achieve true national progress. He adds that through wise policy making, such unfreedom in the country will be ended.
We will strive to remove the unfreedoms. We will aim to feed the hungry, free the bound, and banish poverty. These are primordial, moral, and existential imperatives that are laid upon your government.
The President also shared his administration's Philippine Development Plan that focuses on steering the country's economy back on high growth path. PhilPost also unveiled a special commemorative stamp as part of the occasion's highlights. JD Mahinay reporting for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Community leaders were among thousands who joined together in the celebration of the 125th Philippine Independence Day in Carson, California. Eva and Alan Basalyahe have the story.
The city of Carson in California is one among many around the world celebrating the 125th Philippine Independence Day. So if you're a Filipino
or know someone who is, then food, music, and entertainment at events like this are definitely part of the experience.
We always fund this event. It's co-produced by the Filipino Independence Day Foundation for years. This year it was supported by the Filipino American community. COVID shut us down for a while, so we did it virtually for 2 years. And to see them back in the park, socializing, enjoying the music and all day festivity, it warms my heart and it warms their heart.
It's my first time here in Carson City. This is a very good experience because you can really see the Filipino community, the Filipino heart of caring and of course of sharing.
We want to teach young people about the history of the relationship of our countries and the history of what's happening today. because young people in the Philippines and in America are going to be joining forces to protect freedom, independence, and liberty of the Philippines.
City of Carson, there's so many Filipinos in here. The vendors, there's a Jollibee, so name it. We do have everything here. Filipino are always people who smile. And every time they have it like this, they're all together and help out each other.
We are constantly celebrating together as a family. And that's what it looks like today, is all these people here. It's like a family. But not just for Filipinos. We want to show all the other ethnicities that you can be part of our family as well.
Truly believe I would not have been elected city councilman in the city of Gardena if it wasn't for the tremendous support that I received from the Filipino community. And I think that translated also to my time in the legislature and now in the Senate. So I'm thankful for them. They're engaged in the community, they're active, they're vocal, and that's what you need. And they participate politically, and that's a tremendous asset.
Every nation wants their sovereignty. They want to be recognized as a unique nation, a unique culture. And the Philippines is such a great nation. They have so diverse in skills and talents in the world stage. And I think they need to be promoted.
Anytime we can help elevate the work and the contribution of the Filipino Americans across this great country, we want to do that. And when you get a chance to set your vacation travels, come to California and come to the city of Carson. We will welcome you with open arms. Mabuhay.
Regardless of background, there is a commonality shared by those celebrating the hard-won achievements of Filipinos.
Which means to say that with independence comes unity for everyone. Reporting from Carson, California, Eva Allen from Matanang Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
In other places in the world, Kalayaan celebrations continue. This time, let's head over to Papua New Guinea and find out how our kababayans there celebrated this year's Philippine Independence Day. Eko Hortaleza Quinola has the story.
The Filipino Association of Papua New Guinea commemorates Independence Day with patriotism, unity, and creating awareness for the Filipino youth born and raised here.
It is a very successful event. This is a momentous event. Ito yung ating kasarinlan na talagang ito yung pinagbubuklod-buklod ang mga Pilipino dito sa Port Moresby. Bilang presidente, ang unang-una lang, sana manatili sila dito sa Port Moresby ng maayos, maganda ang trato ng mga employer, tahimik, ligtas, may magandang kalusugan, masaya.
The Araw ng Kalayaan program showcased not only colorful attires, but also talents and skills of Filipinos living here. The Minister and Consul General of the Philippine Embassy, Honorable Aris Severino Convelacer, joined the celebration with his countrymen. The 125th Independence Day program concluded with good food, a happy mood, and lots of photo opportunities.
I think right now we had over 600 attendees that came today to celebrate the Independence Day with us. To everyone who's celebrating the Independence Day all around the globe, maligayang araw ng kalayaan sa ating lahat. Ito pong selebrasyong ito ay hindi lang para sa ating mga mamamayan ngayon, kundi sa ating mga mamamayan kahapon at sa darating pambukas. So continue celebrating the Independence Day and continue to feel proud of our freedom.
Bilang isang Pilipino, and especially when you're working also abroad, it's always very important that we remember kung saan tayo nanggaling. Meron akong anak, and he was born here. When we organize this kind of activities within the Filipino community, my son will be able to learn also na ay, ganun pala yung identity niya bilang isang Pinoy. And being able to participate, to witness, that's one way for us to be able to pass on to the younger generation yung ating kultura, yung ating mga values bilang Pilipino po.
Saan man pong sulok ng mundo, maligayang ika-125 kalayaan ng Pilipinas. Happy Independence Day po sa inyong lahat.
Eko Hortaleza Quinola, Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, Matanang Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
In Brunei Darussalam, the staff and employees of the Philippine Embassy celebrated Independence Day by raising the country's flag. The ceremony was led by the Philippines ambassador to Brunei Darussalam, Her Excellency Marian Jocelyn R. Tirol Ignacio. Sheen Lo tells us more.
Early this morning, in celebration of the 125th Philippine Independence and Nationhood, officers and staff of the Philippine Embassy in Brunei Darussalam attended the flag-raising and book signing ceremony. The event was led by Her Excellency Ambassador Marian Jocelyn Tirol Ignacio and held at the Philippine Embassy compound located at Commonwealth Drive, Bandar Seri Begawan, Brunei Darussalam. After the flag raising, the ambassador read the message of the Philippine President, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. in the occasion of the Kalayaan 2023. Through President BBM's message, he inspired to encourage every Filipino to preserve their way of life, whether in the Philippines or anywhere else in the world, to renew their duty in protecting the democratic ideals of the nation, in continuing to unite and work hard to gain the true, just, and prosperous Philippines that all Filipinos deserve. The reception will then follow in the evening, where the guest of honor is VP Sara Duterte. Shane Law, Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
In other news, the Department of Labor and Employment holds a nationwide job fair in selected venues. Bernadette Manuel reports.
The Department of Labor and Employment offers almost 84,600 vacant jobs as part of the anniversary of the Proclamation of Philippine Independence. According to DOLE, about 1,000 employers have joined in this effort to curb unemployment in the Philippines. The nationwide job fair has 51 venues, with the National Capital Region having the most at 12 sites. Jobs in fields such as business process outsourcing, manufacturing, retail and sales, construction, and financial and insurance activities are likely landing points for those interested. Meanwhile, top job positions offered at the fair are for customer service representatives, production workers or operators, sales clerks, cashiers, laborers, linemen, financial consultants or advisors, and microfinance officers. DOLE advises all applicants joining the fair to prepare their application requirements ahead of their arrival. Some of the requirements are a resume or CV, a certificate of employment for those who were formerly employed, a diploma, and a transcript of records. Bernadette Manuel reporting for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
The Department of Agriculture Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources vessel is scheduled to sail to Pag-asa Island this Independence Day. Madeline Villar Moratillo for the details.
According to the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, BRP Francisco de Gojoy will depart Oyster Bay Naval Base in Puerto Princesa to provide aid to fisher folk amid tensions in the West Philippine Sea. The vessel will deliver fishing gear and post-harvest equipment to beneficiaries in the Pag-asa Island, provided by the collaboration of the Department of Agriculture and BIFOR. The gear and equipment amount to 4.95 million pesos. BIFOR notes that the assistance aims to support fisheries activities of the fisher folk operating within the West Philippine Sea. The gears will help Filipino fisher folk maximize their catch in offshore. At least 2 associations in Pag-asa Island are expected to benefit from the capacity building and livelihood training provided by the agency. Madeline Villar Moratillo reporting for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
There will be a major oil price hike this week. Chevron Philippines will implement their oil price hike around 12 midnight tonight. Around 6 in the morning tomorrow, Pilipinas, Shell, and other companies will apply their own price hike. 1 peso and 20 centavos per liter will be added on gasoline, 1 pesos and 20 or 1 pesos and 20 or 40 centavos per liter on diesel, and 1 peso and 30 centavos per liter on kerosene. Meanwhile, tomorrow, 4 in the afternoon, clean fuel will add the same prices except for kerosene. Weeks ago, price rollbacks on petroleum products were experienced, but the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allied nations are steadfast in lowering oil products to control its prices in the world market.
The Weather State Bureau forecasts Typhoon Chedeng, or internationally known as Guchol, to weaken into a severe tropical storm as it continues its way out of the Philippine area of responsibility. Guchol's center was last seen moving 1,210 kilometers east-northeast of extreme northern Luzon and moving north-northeastward at 25 kilometers per hour. Pag-asa notes that the southwest monsoon enhanced by the storm will bring rains over Occidental Mindoro, the northern portion of Palawan, including the Calamian and Cuyo Islands. Pag-asa adds that starting tonight until tomorrow, Metro Manila, Calabarzon, Mimaropa, Bicol Region, Visayas, Zambales, Bataan, Camiguin, and Dinagat Islands will experience strong winds. Typhoon Guchol is approaching the coast of the Ryukyu Islands in Japan.
Authorities are gearing up for the worst-case scenario that may happen should Mayon volcano erupt. In Albay, the local government has extended the permanent danger zone to 7 kilometers to protect the lives of its citizens. Erlo Bringas has the details.
The provincial government of Albay extended the permanent danger zone, or PDZ, radius to 7 kilometers to ensure the safety of the people living around the volcano. Governor Edson Greco Lagman said all populations inside the 7 kilometers permanent danger zone are now placed under preparedness status. He insisted the measure was taken to ensure zero casualties in case Mayon volcano erupts. Lagman added an evacuation will be executed anytime. Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, said Mayon volcano continues to emit harmful sulfur dioxide to the atmosphere. On Saturday, the Seismology Agency recorded 1,205 tons of sulfur dioxide emission, which was 3 times the 417,000 they measured last Friday. Today, PHIVOLCS logged 21 volcanic earthquakes, 260 rockfall events, and 3 pyroclastic density current events. Due to the increasing restiveness of Mayon volcano, PHIVOLCS classified the situation under Alert Level 3. Alert Level 3 is declared when a volcano's magma is near or at the surface and its activity could lead to hazardous eruption in weeks.
Meron din namang instance po na nagsimula siya sa ganito, yung rock po, naglalabas ng mga tahimik na naglalabas ng volcanic materials, pero after a few weeks po, or a few months, nagbago yung behavior niya, biglang yun na nga po, nagsimula na siyang maging parang worst case scenario na may mga malalaking pagsabog na nangyayari. So sa ngayon po, either way po yung parang 50-50 pa po.
PHIVOLCS said they are monitoring the situation as there is a possibility that the Mayon eruption could harm the lives of many people.
Possible po, posible yan na mahigitan niya. Possible din po na tahimik lang siyang maglalabas ng volcanic material. Nangyari naman na po ito sa previous na mga eruption. Ang tinitingnan na lang po namin parameter ay kung magkakaroon po siya ng isang kung magsimula na po siyang magkaroon ng mga eruption, explosive eruption.
The Office of Civil Defense said they are gearing up for the worst-case scenario that may happen should Mayon volcano erupt. Meanwhile, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, said they have evacuated more than 14,000 residents. 13,792 individuals, or 3,782 families, are staying at 22 evacuation centers, while 584 people, or 156 families, are staying elsewhere. The government gave 20.1 million pesos to Region 5, particularly to the evacuees and residents living near the Mayon volcano. The Department of Health allocated a 1.8 million pesos contingency fund for those who got sick due to Mayon's volcano's activity. Speaker Martin Romualdez also approved the release of 33 million pesos in cash and in-kind assistance. The United Arab Emirates also donated 50 tons of food and medicines for residents who are most affected by Mayon volcano's escalating unrest. This is Arlo Bringas reporting for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Coming up, Japan extends missile defense alert for North Korean missiles. Colombian authorities rescue 4 children after 40 days from a plane crash. And find out what's in the new indictment of former President Donald Trump. Stay tuned, Mata ng Agila International will return for more global news.
The sky. Kaya lumilipad na naman tayo. Sino ba itong uupo ngayon sa ating iconic chairs?
Finally, nag-guess na rin ako dito. I just canceled everything for you.
Talaga? Ay, naku, nakakatuwa naman. Medyo kakaiba ang ating papasukin ngayong araw. The Goodwill Resort with the Goodwill Cast. Woo! Tinur niya tayo sa kanyang bagong buhay.
Mundo.
Tamang-tama, pinag-uusapan sila ng lahat ngayon.
Tiyak ka!
Ayan na. Ayan na. Alam mo talaga siya, no?
Yes!
Tatlong buwan! Kinasal ka na? Yes! Ngayon natin malalaman ang totoo. So now, let's spill the coffee.
Spill the coffee.
Yes. And we're here at Net25. Ito ang tahanan ng Corina Interviews.
Welcome back to Mata ng Agila International. The Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, or SIPRI think tank, says China has increased its nuclear arsenal by 60 warheads to 410 in 2023. SIPRI asserts this figure is significant as it exceeded other 9 nuclear-armed states.
China in particular, we register a significant increase in the number of nuclear warheads over the past year, up from 350 warheads to 410. Now, compared to the USA and Russia, that have about 5,000 each in their inventories, that's very small, but the increase is there.
Director of SIPRI, Dan Smith, says China's military spending has increased every year for the past 28 years. He observes that no other state has driven forward its armed forces at that kind of sustained pace.
It looks as if China may add more nuclear warheads at about the same pace that it is now, or a little bit more, for the coming years. There has been satellite evidence of quite a considerable program of building of missile silos. So I would estimate approximately that it might have 1,000 nuclear warheads by some point in the early 2030s.
Smith asserts there is an urgent need to restore nuclear diplomacy as risks of miscalculation or accident are unacceptably high.
For the second time in a week, Taipei's Air Force scrambled into action after Chinese warplanes crossed the median line of Taiwan Strait. Taipei's defense ministry said they detected 24 Chinese planes, including H-6 bombers, J-10, J-11, J-16, and Su-30 fighters. Meanwhile, China said they deployed a reconnaissance aircraft over the Pacific waters east of Taiwan. Beijing stated they monitored and gathered intelligence on an exercise involving the navies of the United States, Japan, France, and Canada. This just in, several reports say the United States is now preparing evacuation plans for American citizens living in Taiwan. 3 sources familiar with the issue reveal the plan has been underway for at least 6 months, and it's heated up over the past 2 months.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un vowed to hold hands with Russian President Vladimir Putin. State media KCNA reported Kim also aims to bolster strategic cooperation with Putin on their shared goal of building a powerful country. Kim also defended Putin's decision to launch special military operations in Ukraine. He says he supports the Russian leader. He also believes Russian people will continue to add glory to the history of victory.
Japan's defense ministry extended its missile defense alert after North Korea's deadline for its satellite launch expired. Chief Cabinet Secretary Hirokazu Matsuno said it was possible that Pyongyang could seek to push forward with a second launch, this time without announcing a time frame. Matsuno said Japan will destroy any North Korean ballistic missile, rocket, or debris that threatens the nation's territory. He added if Pyongyang would violate the United Nations Security Council resolutions which prohibit the use of ballistic missile technology by North Korea. Pyongyang insists that the United Nations resolutions do not cover its nominally civilian space program. But Japan, South Korea, and the United States said North Korea is advancing its missile program through its satellites. The 3 nations believe Pyongyang's satellite has the same technology with its ballistic missiles.
President Vladimir Putin announces Russia will deploy their tactical nuclear weapons into Belarus on July 7 to 8. From Sochi, southern Russia, RT correspondent Roman Kosarev reports.
Russian nuclear weapons in Belarus will begin as soon as all the construction work for its placement there is completed. Now, Russian president says that should take place around the first week of July, perhaps the second week. Putin announced that Russia would place its tactical weapons in Belarus in response to the UK's decision to provide Ukraine with depleted uranium ammunition, and that took place back in March. Now, at the time, the US and the UK have insisted that uranium shells were a commonplace ammunition that has been in use for decades. Now, Belarusian President Lukashenko had welcomed the placement of nuclear weapons and mentioned that Belarus is also constantly threatened by nuclear arms deployed by Washington in Europe. Now, the US have called the placement of Russia's nuclear weapons in Belarus an irresponsible escalation and a security threat to Europe, and also threatened sanctions against Minsk unless it refuses to host Russian tactical weapons. Now, Moscow stressed time and again that Belarus will not be able to use the nuclear weapons independently, and that control over the ammunition will always remain with Russia.
Poland security official Stanislav Zarin says Poland had nothing to do with the Nord Stream blast. Reports allege that Ukrainian saboteurs were involved in the attack. The papers claim the suspects arrived at a German port where they boarded the vessel on a van with Polish license plates. But Zarin denies the accusations and says attempts to link Poland with the twin blast are baseless. He also claims Russia is behind the attack. But Russian President Vladimir Putin refused reports of Russia blasting their own pipelines. On September 26, 2022, a series of bombings and underwater gas leaks occurred on the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 pipelines. The twin pipelines were built to transport natural gas from Russia to Germany through the Baltic Sea. As of now, there is no concrete investigation to ascertain the perpetrators' identities.
Ukraine reported territorial recaptures of 4 villages in its southern or southeastern region, marking the first liberated settlements of its counteroffensive. Footage on social media showed Ukrainian troops celebrating in the neighboring settlements of Blahodatne and Neskuchne in the Donetsk region. On Saturday, President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed that their counteroffensive has begun. These settlements would be the first liberated since his declaration, but not the first that Ukraine has recaptured when its forces began to advance in the country's south.
Важливо, що Росія відчуває це завжди, що їм недовго залишилось, на мою думку. Контрнаступальні оборонні дії відповідні відбуваються в Україні, на якій стадії я не буду говорити детально.
Russia and Ukraine announced at the same time a successful prisoner swap. Russia's defense ministry said 94 Russians in Ukrainian captivity had been released after negotiations with Kyiv. The soldiers were taken immediately to a medical institution for examination. Meanwhile, Kyiv said 95 Ukrainian troops had returned. Authorities added among those swap prisoners came from the city of Mariupol.
Four indigenous children who survived in the Amazon jungle for 40 days have been rescued. They have all been housed in a local medical facility as they recount their harrowing survival experience after the plane crash, including how their mother survived the crash for days before she died. The siblings are expected to remain in a hospital for at least 2 weeks, receiving treatment after their rescue. Henry Guerrero, an indigenous man contracted as a navigator for the search party, said that the children were found with 2 small bags containing some clothes, a towel, a flashlight, 2 cell phones, a music box, and a soda bottle. He said they used the bottle to collect water in the nearest streams with a diet consisting of cassava starch and seeds. Some familiarity with the rainforest fruits was also key to their survival. The kids are members of the Huitoto indigenous group.
La que dirigió todo estos 40 días fue la mayor. Fue muy inteligente porque no te pone a revisarme el maletín, qué es lo que llevaba. Claro, ella cogió el toldillito, cogió la toallita, el pedazo del camping, se echó una linterna con batería de un par, pero ya estaba desgastada. Los 2 celulares, creo que ellos se distraían a veces de noche. Una cajita musical y la frasquita de gaseosa.
The children were traveling with their mother from the Amazonian village of Araraquara to the town of San Jose del Guiviare when the plane went down. Once rescued, they were transported in a helicopter to Bogota and then to a military hospital, where President Gustavo Petro, other officials and family members met the children.
Las comunidades indígenas que estuvieron en la búsqueda y las fuerzas militares conjuntamente encontraron a los niños 40 días después. Estaban solos, no habían sido, ellos mismos lograron un ejemplo de sobrevivencia total, digamos, que quedará en la historia.
Tunisia's president hosted the leaders of Italy, the Netherlands, and the European Union on Sunday for talks aimed at smoothing the way for an international bailout and restoring stability to the country. In recent months, Tunisia has served as a significant source of migration to Europe for asylum seekers. On the eve of the talks, Tunisian President Kais Saied made an unannounced visit to a migrant camp in the coastal city of Sfax, a central jumping-off point for boat journeys crossing the Mediterranean to Italy. Saied spoke with families living in the camp and pleaded for international aid for Africans who converge on Tunisia as a transit point to reach Europe. Support from Tunisia's president is crucial to any European deal to curb migration. Tunisian Prime Minister Agila met with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte, and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Migration is a top priority for the Italian PM due to her country being the primary destination for Europe-bound immigrants. Saied criticized the conditions set by the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, which includes cuts to subsidies on flour and fuel, cuts to the large public administration sector, and the privatization of loss-making public companies. The European leaders brought a packet of initiatives to improve security in Tunisia, easing the way for the International Monetary Fund's help. The European Commission talks centered on making progress on an EU-Tunisia agreement focused on the economy, energy, and migration.
The European Commission is considering macrofinancial assistance as soon as the necessary agreement is found. And we are ready to mobilize up to 900 million euros for this purpose of macrofinancial assistance. As an immediate step, we could provide an additional up to 150 million euros in budget support right now.
The member countries sealed an agreement planned to share responsibility for migrants entering Europe without authorization, one of the bloc's longest-running political crises. The plan is still in its early stages and may meet resistance at the European Parliament.
We both have a vast interest in breaking the cynical business model of smugglers and traffickers. It is horrible to see how they deliberately risk human lives for profit. So we will work together on an anti-smuggling operational partnership, and we will support Tunisia with border management. This year, the European Union will provide 100 million euros to Tunisia for border management, but also for search and rescue and anti-smuggling and return.
Former President Donald Trump has been charged with mishandling hundreds of classified documents, including United States nuclear secrets and military plans. The 37-count indictment accused him of keeping the files in his Florida estate and of several violations under the Espionage Act. This indictment marks the first ever federal charges filed against a former U.S. president. The classified documents stored in the boxes contained information on U.S. nuclear programs, defense, and weapons capabilities of the U.S. and its allies, potential vulnerabilities of the United States and its partners regarding certain military attacks, and potential retaliation procedures in response to foreign attacks. He has also been accused of purposefully withholding information and lying to investigators when questioned. He then tried to obstruct the investigation into the handling of the documents. Legal experts say that the criminal charges against Trump could lead to substantial prison time if he is convicted. Charges have also been filed against Trump's personal aide, Walt Nauta. The former White House military valet is accused of moving files to hide them from the FBI. The charge sheet also notes that Trump tried to obstruct the FBI inquiry into the missing documents by suggesting that his lawyer hid or destroyed them. Trump's first court appearance in the case will be in Miami, Florida, on the eve of his 77th birthday.
Former Italian leader and media tycoon Silvio Berlusconi dies at 86. Italy's longest-serving prime minister, who was a media tycoon who defied a succession of scandals to tower over Italian public life for decades, has died. Berlusconi's Mediaset television network announced his death, but his cause of death has not been disclosed to the public.
Silvio Berlusconi era soprattutto un combattente. Era un uomo che non aveva mai avuto paura a difendere le sue convinzioni e sono stati esattamente quel coraggio, quella determinazione a farne uno degli uomini più influenti della storia d'Italia, a consentirgli di imprimere delle vere e proprie svolte nel mondo della politica, della comunicazione, nel mondo dell'impresa. Con lui l'Italia ha imparato che non doveva mai farsi imporre dei limiti. Ha imparato che non doveva mai darsi per vinta. Con lui noi abbiamo combattuto, vinto, perso molte battaglie e anche per lui porteremo a casa gli obiettivi che insieme ci eravamo dati. Addio Silvio.
Berlusconi formed the country's largest media company before using his fame and wealth as the launchpad for a political career that saw him lead Italy 3 times. Political allies paid tribute to a man who fiercely divided opinion but had nevertheless been a cornerstone of Italian life for more than 40 years. Up next, Unabomber Ted Kaczynski dies at a prison in North Carolina. A bus crash carrying wedding guests claims 10 lives in Australia. And bird flu outbreak in Chile prompts closure of a penguin reserve. Mata ng Agila International will be back after the short break.
Abangan sa Counterpoint, kikilalanin natin ang taong punong abala upang makamit ang target ng Administrasyong Marcos na 1,000,000 housing unit taon-taon upang makamit ang 6.5 million unit na backlog ng pamahalaan.
Slogan po namin ni Presidente na wala pong Pilipino na walang bahay sa sariling bayan. Basta ikaw po ay may trabaho, dapat may bahay.
Ngayong Miyerkules alas 10:30 ng gabi, dito lang sa Net 25. Wala pa hong demanda, tinuturo mo na. Nauna ho yung conclusion. Wala pa yung predicate, wala pang basis, nagsalita na.
Panalo tayo pag together, walang talo pag together, let's get together sa Net 25.
No injuries or deaths have been reported after an overpass collapsed on a major U.S. highway. Authorities believe the section of the road gave way after a truck burst into flames under the bridge. Carlo Valdez has the details.
The truck believed to have caused an overpass collapse in Pennsylvania had been carrying a petroleum-based product. It remains trapped under the debris. The collapse took out 4 lanes along a heavily traveled section of Interstate 95 in Philadelphia. It happened about 6:30 a.m. local time. Cause of the fire is under investigation. Pennsylvania's governor says it could take months to repair the damage to the major artery. Commuters can expect it's going to take them longer to get to work today. About 160,000 vehicles use the road daily. Carlo Valdez from Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Ted Kaczynski, who terrorized Americans from 1978 to 1995 with his anonymous bombing campaign, has died in prison. The 81-year-old, known as Unabomber, was found unresponsive at a federal prison medical center in Butner, North Carolina. He was taken to the hospital where he was officially pronounced dead later in the morning. Kaczynski carried out a 17-year bombing campaign that killed 3 people and injured 23 others. His bombs were either hand-delivered or mailed for over 2 decades. After his 1996 arrest, Kaczynski was convicted to life in prison in 1998, where he was given 4 life sentences plus 30 years in a case prosecuted by Merrick Garland. The nickname of Unabomber came from his targeting of a university and an airline company, leading the FBI to dub him the University and Airline Bomber.
A wedding in Australia turned tragic after a bus carrying guests rolled over, killing at least 10 people and injuring 25. Police have arrested a 58-year-old bus driver and say he will be charged. Emi Kapili Taroha has more.
The accident happened about 11:30 p.m. local time in foggy conditions on a roundabout in a small community in New South Wales. Police aren't saying whether speed is a factor. The passengers had attended a wedding earlier and on their way back to their accommodations. A helicopter transported the injured people to the hospital. 18 others on the bus escaped injury. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese offered government support to the victims and their families. Emi Kapili Taroha for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Chile has stepped up its efforts to fight an outbreak of bird flu that threatened marine animals. Fear of the disease has resulted in the closure of the Humboldt Penguin National Reserve on Damas Island in northern Chile. Bruce Balmeo has the details.
Damas Island is home to 56% of the breeding pairs of this species of penguins. Wildlife officials say avian flu has already claimed more than 1,300 Humboldt penguins, about 10% of the population of this species. They say the penguins are in a vulnerable conservation category, and after this outbreak will be in another category, much more at risk. As well as the penguins, avian flu has killed about 8,000 other marine animals, mostly sea lions. For the past 6 months, patrols have been going around the island, picking up the carcasses of dead animals to prevent the spread of the disease. In 13 of the 16 regions of the country, dead wolves have been detected, a mammal that has not been previously affected by bird flu. Bruce Balmeo for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Coming right up, Filipino Olympian EJ Biena joins the 6-meter club. Net25's first ever feature film Monday First Screening holds its gala premiere. And British band Coldplay is coming to the Philippine Arena. Catch more news in tech, sports, and entertainment when we return.
We're in the sky. Kaya lumilipad na naman tayo. Sino ba itong uupo ngayon sa ating iconic chairs?
Finally, nag-guess na rin ako dito. He just canceled everything for you.
Talaga? Ay, naku, nakakatuwa naman. Medyo kakaiba ang ating papasukin ngayong araw. The Goodwill Resort with the Goodwill Cast. Woo! Tinur niya tayo sa kanyang bagong buhay.
Mundo.
Tamang-tama, pinag-uusapan sila ng lahat ngayon.
Tiyak ka!
Tiyak tayo!
Ayan na.
Ayan na. Alam mo talaga siya, no?
Yes!
Tatlong buwan! Kinasal ka na! Yes! Ngayon natin malalaman ang totoo. So now, let's spill the coffee.
Spill the coffee.
Yes. And we're here at Net25. Ito ang tahanan ng Corina Interviews.
Over the weekend, Filipino Olympian EJ Biena has set a new Asian pole vault record. Biena dominated the Bergen Jump Challenge in Norway by clearing the 6-meter mark in a single attempt. He defeated Americans Casey Lightfoot, who finished behind Biena, and Sam Kendricks at third place. With this feat, Biena shattered the 5.94-meter record he himself set at the World Athletics Championships in Oregon last year. He also joined the ranks of pole vault icon Sergej Bubka in the 6-meter club, along with current world champion and record holder Armand Duplantis of Sweden.
Net25's first ever feature film, the romantic comedy Monday First Screening, held its gala premiere today at the EVM Convention Center. Christina Gira tells us more.
Senior citizens flocked to the EVM Convention for the red carpet premiere of Benedict Nique's romantic comedy Monday First Screening. The nearly whole-day event kick-started with a trade fair and public service to treat the senior citizen guests to various products and services. It was followed by a press conference where the entire cast shared their creative and movie-making process. Top billed by veteran actors Ricky Davao and Gina Alahar, with a superb roster of supporting actors, including Soliman Cruz and Ruby Ruiz. The movie tells the cute love story between a man and a woman in their twilight years.
Manonood lang kami ng sine.
Ay! Lo, happy all for you, Mommy Ja!
I love you, Lydia!
Net25 President Cesar R. Vallejos emphasized at the press con that Net25's venture into feature film productions will retain the network's core values, which is to provide quality, wholesome entertainment fit for the entire family.
To be the genuinely wholesome, family-friendly network. So there are a lot of materials, even on television and film, that have those touchy subjects. But the 25 Films will be the primary network in the Philippines, and we have proven that already to come up with content that has the time-honored values of the Filipino. This includes respect for the elderly, for example, love, the time-honored values of dignity, integrity, honesty. I think this is the only platform where we think Net25 can be different. We want it to be different in the industry, and if you look for the other film productions, they already do that. I think with Net25 Films, that is what we will be very unique, that is going to make us stand out. And as they mentioned, as Ms. Gina Alahar mentioned, pwede naman palang gumawa ng pelikula or kwento na may kwenta.
The press con was followed by a short program where Net25 talents Ali Soto and Tony Petgaba hosted several games for the seniors and gave away prizes. Joshua Feliciano then set the romantic mood by serenading the audience with the heart-rendering song Sayaw from the movie's soundtrack. As soon as the opening credits began, the audience was already hooked. The entire theater frequently erupted with laughter, emotionally connected all throughout. Like Monday first screening, future Net25 film productions will continue to champion honesty, integrity, respect, and other moral values. Net25 aims to stand out in the film and TV industry as the Filipino viewer's source of family-friendly content. Its conviction that clean and wholesome entertainment can still be fun and emotionally rewarding was proven in the audience's positive response after the screening.
May mga bagay na dapat mong paghirapan bago mo makuha.
Christina Aguirre for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Another famous group has joined the roster of concerts in the Philippine arena, and it's none other than the British band Coldplay. The band's Music of the Spheres concert was announced to the public and is to be held on January 19, 2024 in the world's largest indoor arena. Philippine Arena is expected to be flooded by fans as the band is prominently loved by Filipinos. Coldplay comprised of frontman Chris Martin, guitarist Johnny Buckland, bassist Guy Barron, and percussionist Will Champion. They're known for their hits like Yellow, Viva La Vida, Paradise, A Sky Full of Stars, and Hymn for the Weekend. Tickets will be available on June 19 at 11:59 p.m. for Live Nation members, while on June 20 at 12 noon for the general public. The band previously performed in the country back in 2017 as part of their A Head Full of Dreams tour in the year 2017.
And to start the week, here's a quote from Nick Joaquin, writer, journalist, and Philippine national artist for literature. Environment is what you make it, and destiny is how you react to your environment, whether you try to overcome it or just resign yourself to it.
I love that. Destiny is how you react to your environment.
Exactly, because destiny is really what we make of it.
Yes, a matter of perspective.
And Happy Independence Day,
Independence Day before we go.
And to everyone watching.
Happy Independence Day. That is a wrap for tonight's news. Catch the latest updates on our social media channels. I'm Gianna Llanes.
And I am Nina Richie Alago Flores. This is Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.